Warning, this video has got some heavy-ass spoilers for Vinland Saga, so only watch it if you've finished reading the manga. Hello there, I'm Wander. I dropped out of college and moved back with my parents earlier last year, and when COVID hit, I devolved into a caveman Neanderthal husk of a human being. So I pretty much did nothing but sleep and rot in my room. I needed to distract myself from my own stagnation, so I started to watch anime again, and I read some manga to pass the time. I finally finished reading Berserk, and I wanted to watch an anime similar to it. So I did some searching, and I found Vinland Saga. I thought, oh hey, this looks kinda like Berserk, except this Griffith is less gay, and this Guts is a blonde midget that doesn't overcompensate with a big fuck-off sword. I watched the first 2 seasons of the anime on Amazon Prime, and I was completely blown away by the characters. Honestly, these are some of the most entertaining and complex characters I've ever seen in anything, let alone anime. Knut's development from a soft boy Bible thumper to an ambitious king trying to change the world is really well done. Askeladd is a really bad person, but as the series goes on, you grow to understand him and sympathize with him, even though he does these horrible things. Thorkel is Thorkel. Also, it's animated really well and the soundtrack is incredible. After I binged the anime and then rewatched it immediately again with my brother, I took a break for a day and then I speedread the entire manga twice in a day. I'm not sure what that proves more, the high quality of the manga or the fact that I am an insane person who doesn't get out enough. Alright, so Vinland Saga is good. I've jerked off the author long enough now, so I'll get to the point. There hasn't been much drama or action in the manga in the recent chapters, and I totally get that it's a break on the home front before the big journey to Vinland, but something's gotta happen to spice things up again. Thorfinn has developed into a passive, peaceful man that fights with his words instead of his fists, and he's vowed to never kill again. So far he's been able to solve every problem without violence and without losing anything, and I'm truly happy for him, but that also means his character development has completely flatlined. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, because in the prologue, Thorfinn was a static character too. Sure, he had his doubts, but it was his single-minded goal of revenge driving him for the entire prologue. On top of that, Askeladd and Knut were the stars of the prologue. Thorfinn was just sort of along for the ride. Now, back to the recent chapters. The sailing west arc has been pretty slow so far, mostly focusing on Thorfinn preparing for the big trip. We get some touching moments between Thorfinn and his family and friends, and we get to see what Thorkel would be like if he were raised as a girl, which was honestly just Yukimura making the Thorkel best girl meme canon. You know, fuck it, why not? We learned that Thorkel pays child support and even found a husband for his daughter, so that's good to know. Anyways, it's been pretty slow. Obviously things will be picking up again, and I think I know how. Time for a little history. In case you didn't know, Vinland, as the Vikings called it, is actually a part of eastern Canada in modern times. Specifically, somewhere around the St. Lawrence River. Thorfinn's character is based on the real-life Thorfinn Karlsefni, who was also an Icelandic trader that tried to settle in Vinland. He tried to set up a village, and it was going okay until some Native Americans fought with them, and they were forced to leave or be killed. The Vikings' first interactions with the natives were actually peaceful ones, but the second time around they got into a fight. So, knowing that the real-life expedition failed, and knowing that Yukimura is a big history nerd, leads me to believe that the manga will probably loosely follow the real-life expedition. And that means we're going to see Thorfinn and his crew go through some crazy shit, and we'll eventually see a return to Europe after their failure. So, how bad is it going to be for Thorfinn's settlers once they arrive? If they arrive in the winter, survival is going to be extremely tough without seeking the help of the native population, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea either. More history. The native peoples of Canada at the time all had different tribes that were constantly at war with each other, and Thorfinn's brand of pacifism will severely backfire on them if they make contact with one of the many tribes that had boners for war, like the Iroquois or the Mohawk. Native Americans weren't called savages by the British without a reason. For example, the Mohawk would do insane, barbaric shit like ripping out hearts and eating them on the battlefield to prove themselves as warriors. Most of the natives weren't any less bloodthirsty than the Vikings. So far, Vinland has been a fairy tale idea in Thorfinn's mind, not realistic in the slightest, and he knows it deep down. It's less of a country idea and more of a comforting thought that reminds him of his father's teachings and his childhood. I feel like we're in for a massive dose of reality when they reach Vinland. Maybe a language or cultural misunderstanding between 2 hot-blooded young warriors causes a fight. Maybe the hot-headed native guy was the chief's son, and the fucker who snuck his sword on board stabs him. Maybe he's the guy with the mumble rapper face tats and the mismatched hair and beard colors. Seriously, where the hell did he get blonde hair dye in the 10th century? Well, this is the same series that had a giant Bigfoot, the Viking Da Vinci Girl, and even the Loch Ness Monster, so I suppose I shouldn't complain about historical accuracy at this point. Anyway, the sort of situation I proposed would create some great conflict, also known as that shit that makes stories entertaining. There would be some spicy inner conflict for Thorfinn. Maybe he'll lose someone close to him that he could have saved using violence. Maybe he's got to stab a bitch. Seriously though, if any character needs some focus, it's Hild. She's not a bad character, but ever since her introduction, she literally just stands around menacingly in every chapter she's in. She's constantly reminding Thorfinn that he's dead if he fucks up his Batman no-kill rule. Well, those were my thoughts, but who knows, maybe the Vinland expedition will turn out to be a boring, happy ending for the characters, or they just up and fuck off to Canada with 0 issues, and they live happily ever after, and we never get to see Knut ever again. Okay, but for real though, if that's what actually happens, I'm gonna fly to Japan and drop a log in Yukimura's face.